Just recently, my favourite local pub has just reopened. It's been great hanging out in there again, but there's a few things I've noticed. And to be honest, it's exactly the same thing that I noticed when I was running pubs back in 1995 through to like 2000, 2005. The big drinks that I keep seeing people order, except for beer and wine, gin and tonic, vodka and lemonade, Pimm's and lemonade, and whiskey, maybe with a little bit of water. And by whiskey, I'm meaning like Famous Grouse or Bell's or whatever. You know, there's not a rum drink in sight. I've spent quite a few nights down and out, and there's just not one single person ordering anything rum related. Now, when it comes to their rum selection, look, I'll work with them. We're going to have some fun in there. We are. Of course we are. But currently, standard Bacardi, Havana 3-year-old, cracking. And when it comes to the mixers, Coke, ginger beer. It's not even that ginger beer either. It's like Fentimans, you know, it's not a brilliant ginger beer. But unless you kind of want to go like some J2O or something else, there's no other options. So how do we, as rum lovers, as a rum community, how do we really kickstart rum locally? Build it from the ground up. Hey rum fans, I'm Steve the Barman, and I'm here to help you on your rum journey by mainly focusing on rums under 50 quid. Now look, I realise in a pub, neat rum is still going to be a massive stretch, especially with the average selection on offer. But you know, there's no point pubs offering something that's just never going to get drunk. You know, if the average pub had a bottle of that on their back bar, it's going to sit there gathering dust for months and months and months. And as a pub, that is the last thing you want. But it's actually not that difficult to create a few simple serves, a few simple rum highballs using that really basic rum selection. But we do need something that grabs people's attentions. You know, we are fighting against that great big gin balloon with like a few bits of ice. You know, it looks good with a couple of bits of fruit in there or whatever. That's what we're competing in. And to be honest, that is easy to destroy. Now, as big as rum and Coke is, and I've got Havana there, do you know what? I should have put Bacardi in there. As big as that actually is as a serve, it is really a love or hate thing. It's really not that big serve to compete against the gin and tonic or the vodka and lemonade. Now, let's be honest, they are dull serves, but they still get ordered time and time and time again. But to compete, pubs are never going to serve up like daiquiris and mojitos, let alone rum fashions and mai tais. So we need that ultra simple highball that isn't rum and Coke, that isn't rum and ginger beer, that really kicks the rum category off at grassroots, at pub level. So step forward, these 3 drinks coming up. Now granted, these will be reliant on buying lists and pubs being able to buy out of time, but I really do think these brands can do something amazing in the UK. So first up, instead of the daiquiri that needs shaking, that needs lime juice and a bit of sugar syrup, I present the long daiquiri. And Stratford Soda Citrus is perfect for this. But if you're thinking, oh, I can't get hold of that, stay tuned up, because I've got an alternative. Of course I have. But I really do think the long daiquiri could be a big player. You either highball it up like that, tall glass, loads of ice, or you compete with the gin fans. You whack it in a gin balloon with a bit of fruit, a bit of lemon or a bit of lime or whatever, and you've got something just to kind of pique the interest, kind of take it away, take the attention away from gin. And look, you don't even really need to garnish it. I've got a wedge of lime in there, a wedge of lemon to do the job, maybe a sprig of mint, but you don't have to. You know, I see gin and tonics, vodka and lemonades going out with this wafer thin slice of lemon. Still to this day, people love the drink. Let's give them something even better to enjoy. And if we're talking garnishes, look, I talk about this sort of stuff all the time. Dehydrated fruit. You can do it yourself or you can buy it in. Yes, buying it in is a little bit more expensive, but it's that guaranteed perfect garnish every single time without the faff. Now this serve will work with your household favourites, your Bacardi, your Havana 3-year-olds. But people know them. Those brands have been around the block. They're not new, they're not exciting. But you know what? As much as these aren't my favourite brands in the world, I'm looking specifically at pub and bar buying lists, and I'm looking specifically at what people get from the supermarkets. And you know what? I think these 2 brands could be really big players just to offer something different. Duppy, a Jamaican white rum. Santiago de Cuba, an alternative Cuban rum to Havana. If it's different, people are kind of engaged. It makes them curious. Oh, what's that? And I say they're not my favourite brands. The fact is, these are really easy to drink, decent prices to buy in, but they're never ever going to make a bad drink. And as I said, supermarkets are carrying these, so the brand awareness is there. Just think about creating a simple menu with like a Duppy long daiquiri or a Santiago long daiquiri or whatever you want to call it. I tell you, they're going to be cash converters. But most importantly, for all you rum fans, it's going to pique the interests. Oh, rum. And that's when the category starts to take off at ground level. Now, as I said, I do know this will be a stretch too far for some pubs. Of course it will be. They're in buying deals, they're in ties, of course they are. But there is an alternative. Not my favourite kind of thing. I would prefer to go something like this, but there is an easy alternative. Step forward, Fever Tree Sicilian lemonade. It is pretty decent, to be fair. The disadvantage for me personally, these don't really make me burp. They haven't got that gas in them, whereas this kind of does make me burp. So I'm naturally going to kind of go towards these. But for pubs and bars that already buy in Fever Tree, it's a no-brainer. And of course, the other alternative that I see quite a bit now is San Pellegrino Luminata. That is becoming more and more available in pubs and bars. It's a similar sort of thing, citrus, lemonade, soda, whatever you want to call it, mix that with rum, you've effectively got a long daiquiri. But as I say, Stratford for me is the go-to, but I get the whole buying deals, the ties, I get all that. Now this, the long daiquiri, leads nicely into another favourite cocktail, the Mojito. Now I'm not suggesting for 1 minute a pub, your local pub, goes all cocktaily. It just ain't ever gonna happen. Chopping down limes, muddling them with sugar syrup, you know, adding your rum, a bit of soda, it ain't ever gonna happen. We need to make things easy. But of course, the daiquiri is the base of a mojito, let alone a long daiquiri like this. It's virtually a mojito. All you need is the mint. Now, of course, as a pub or bar, you could have like Monin and William Fox ODK mint syrup on hand. Of course you could, but I don't think you need to sweeten that up at all. That is perfect. If you add a syrup to it, you're just going to sweeten. All you need, 10 to 12 mint leaves behind the bar, give them a spank, pop them in, give it a little stir, and you've essentially got a very quick and easy mojito. 6, 8, 10 mint leaves. The mint really does come through. It transforms that drink. It doesn't taste like a proper mojito, but I tell you what, it ain't far off. And if you're telling me your local village pub can't manage to whack a few mint leaves in a rum and like a citrus soda, whether it's Stratford or whether it is Fever Tree Sicilian lemonade, if that can't happen, they don't deserve to run a pub. And the reason I'm focusing on pubs so much is because as a community, that's where we kind of go first. Yes, we have big nights out in town or cocktail bars or whatever, but as the community, as a simple drink on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday night, the local pub is where you're at. And I tell you what, if my local pub served that, a traditional lemonade, Sicilian lemonade, Stratford soda with a decent rum, had a handful of mint leaves, I'm going to be in there. I'm going to be in there twice as often as what I already am. But having that drink, that rum highball, that's what starts rum at the ground level. That's when you have those conversations. What other rums are available? That leads on to rum tasting nights in your pubs and bars. It leads on to people getting more curious in the supermarkets. Oh, we had that the other night. What does that taste like? And I promise you, to a vodka and lemonade fan, that is going to blow their little socks off. So the next serve I'm going to give you is kind of like a tropical punch. And there's a couple of different ways pubs could go with this, but I just think Fentiman's Tropical Soda is the perfect kind of brand for this. Because let's face it, most pubs in the UK, their buying list, no matter who they buy from, will be stocking some form of Fentiman's products, traditionally the ginger beer. You know, that's pretty much a go-to in most sort of pubs. Every kind of pub company will have Fentiman's ginger beer. So they have got access to Fentiman's Tropical Soda. Now, the reason I say there's a couple of different ways we could go here is because there is another brand, London Essence. I call it Posh Britvic. essentially. But again, the vast majority of pubs will be able to buy in that London Essence pineapple soda. Now, the whole thing I have with that is that I know pineapple has got, again, it's a love-hate kind of thing. I've experienced that many years, even in hen parties. You know, you put pineapple juice, no, you know, it's really love-hate. So I kind of discount that as a pineapple. I'm up for that. I love it. I've got another favourite pineapple brand, but I think you put the words tropical in front of something, tropical soda, and I really think you have more of a, oh, what's that? Now, pubs will be able to buy that in 200ml bottles, exactly the same size as your Fever Trees, your Double Dutches, and all that sort of stuff. It's just we're used to seeing it in supermarkets. For consumers at home, we're used to seeing that in 500ml bottles. But I think this is the product that opens the category out to not only sort of white rums or slightly aged rums, but also your fruity kind or spiced rums. My first immediate thought for this is like a proper coconut rum. Now, I'm not talking Malibu, that's a liqueur. I'm talking proper coconut rums. Stuff like Luna, for example, or Coco Canu, like proper punchy stuff. Even Dead Man's Fingers coconut. But I also know it will work with your favourite spiced rums like your Krakens and things like that. And what others, with Dead Man's Fingers, what other spiced rums you carry. And we're going to the sort of spiced flavoured rums. We've got passion fruit and coconut there, so an extension on coconut rum. We've got Bush, which is a cracking one here. We've got their kind of passion fruit and guava and their mango. These type of rums, these type of flavours are going to go perfectly with your tropical soda. And that's what I mean when you have products like this. They are the kind of things that transport you off on holiday, off to a beach somewhere. And that's what you want when you go down your local pub, because it's a form of escapism. And I think the other thing with a brand like this as well, it's not overly sweet. It's not Rubicon sweet. It's not Lilt or Fanta sweet. There is an element of sweetness to it. It can be sweetened up by a touch of sugar syrup if need be. But I think this does cater for most palates, because then you allow a flavoured, a spiced rum to sweeten it up. But don't get me wrong, that's still going to be an absolute firm favourite with your Bacardis, with your Havana 3-year-olds. And then the third and final serve that I really think could put rum on the map in pubs and bars is the humble ginger ale. Now, I'll agree, ginger ale for me is not suited to all rums, but a combo that I absolutely love and is really easy drinking, and I guarantee it, every single village pub up and down the country will be able to buy without question. Havana Cuban Spice. There is just something about this spiced rum with ginger ale that will really get people going, wow, what's that? Now again, I come back to it. Look, it is not one of my top brands. It really isn't. But I'm in the psyche, I'm in the mindset of your average village pub and their buying lists and what can they get. But more importantly, what do people recognise that they would order? And not only does the label look cool on this, you'll find this in pretty much every supermarket in the UK now. And this serve is just so achievable by every single village pub in the country. Whether you're rocking out Schweppes or Canada Dry ginger ale, whatever you want to call it, whether you're rocking out Fever Tree normal ginger ale, or if you can see from this, if you want to go one better, this is the spiced orange ginger ale, and it's amazing. So these 3 or 4, if you include that as 2, are these easy entry-level rum drinks that anyone can recreate. Simple, easy wins to kind of pique the interest of your gin and your vodka fans. Or to give those existing rum lovers something different from their average Coke or ginger beer. So how can you effect change in your village local? Well, all you have to do is go up to the bar and simply ask them what rums and what mixes have they got. And trust me, after enough people ask, they will soon realise there's a new trend in town and they have to do something about it. Or of course, you can even show them this video or give them my details. Heck, I'll have a chat with them. I just want all you rum fans to start that conversation, because without any of you starting that conversation, the pubs, you're all going to just come back and moan and whinge time after time that the choice you have down your village local just isn't that great. So it's up to you to start to change things. Now these are just 3 or 4 very simple rum highballs with mixes that every single pub and you guys at home should be able to get. Now yes, I know there's a hell of a lot more choice out there, but the very last thing a pub needs is for stock to just sit there week after week, month after month without really shifting. So your local pub needs the big brands with decent flavours that recreate tasty drinks that will sell at really high volumes. And I think these are the brands and the flavours to do just that.